Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. Gui Jaroschy is my special guest. We've talked about his background, his incredible career coming up in the bar business and the hospitality business. We've talked about unfiltered hospitality, what every bar needs, the details and the checklist, basically, and what you can do to become a world-class bartender. Those are all in the first half of the show. We are on our final segment here, and we're going to talk bar trends a little bit. What are you excited about right now, Key? Is there anything that's really got you excited? I got a list here I can go through too, if that
Yeah,
helps you.
I mean, I'm excited about a lot of things. I'm always excited about the hospitality and the bar industry. I went to a new restaurant in Miami recently called Sonny's, which is from some friends. Previously, they had a place called Jaguar Sun here, and I feel like they absolutely nailed it in an area in basically every area. I went and texted some people like I think it's officially the best restaurant in Miami, but I'm excited that people are really I mean, it sounds like something that's always been happening, but I feel like they've got it right for this particular era of an aesthetic meets a style of service meets a product offering where it was just like, man, everything was just knockout. Food quality was great. And
What
I'm
is the
excited.
style of this era? I
So,
don't want to interrupt
well,
you,
I
but
just mean to say, like, there's always been visually stunning places in Miami, but there is this kind of new era that we're in, and I don't know that I've fully defined it. You know what I mean? Like, I could think of like the
design
early
wise, architecturally,
2000s.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost sort of like it's like elevated old school, and it's not, not who's the guy who did like Rushmore? Who's the director who did Rushmore and Royal Tenenbaums and stuff?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name. I'm gonna look it up real quick here. Uh, yes,
What
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
It's definitely not Wes Anderson. It's like if that really existed and people weren't doing the kind of wink to that style. You know what I mean? It's like you really were in someone's house in Miami in the 40s, 50s and elegant, but then still kind of modern hipster playlist and like great cocktails, great food. I just feel like they nailed it. There's a group called Hogsalt Hospitality out of Chicago that I felt like has always kind of done that pretty well. Like if you ever went to Bavette's when that was kind of like somewhat
Mm-hmm.
new, or
Mm-hmm.
Fort Charles Prime Rib, where some of those felt a little bit like sets. Like Fort Charles feels a little bit like a movie set, but it was like the place had been there since the 1890s or something, and
Yeah.
it's like a 10-year-old restaurant, you know?
It's what
And
movie sets base their sets off of.
yeah,
As an example.
exactly.
Yeah.
There's just some people that really get those things right, and a lot of times I think when you get the visual right, there's sometimes things missing in service and product delivery, and this place did it really well. And I think that in general, um, people in bars right now are kind of getting that sort of aesthetic and quality of product right in a way that maybe they hadn't for a little bit.
I
Um,
like that.
yeah, so that's exciting. And I think that it's weird because I'm not always a fan of the sort of molecular style mixology. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
cool, but I just don't geek out over it. But where we're landing now is this really cool, like streamlined aesthetic that's very sort of clean and it's on clear ice and like a thin glass. And so like what's kind of come out of it is this very nice, like very clean, elevated drinking experience that I think you're seeing in more cities right now, which is really nice. Like not over the top garnish, even though in the time when I was winning awards, we were putting, you know, birds and whole dill blossoms on it. It was
Yeah.
very big, but
Put a
now you're
word on
getting
it.
this, yeah, put a bird on it. But now it's very streamlined and sleek, and I think those cocktails are, for me at 40 some odd years old, is really fun to drink and really nice. Like it's really to the point, you know?
Yeah. Is there anything better than a perfect glass? Like when you know you have it when you're holding it, right? To make a cocktail. I'll take that over a garnish every year. When I'm drinking a cocktail and I've got that perfect weight, that perfect
Yeesh.
feel of either the crystal or the glass or the like you mentioned,
I
because you brought it up because of the thin glass, and you mentioned um, there's nothing better than that, I don't think, in a,
I
in a
I
good bar.
geek out over glassware bet. So in the next room, we have hundreds of glassware samples and these little packing boxes. Everything's, organized. And I am the guy, even if I don't touch the client, I'm usually on the OS&E part of it just because I like to pick Glassware, and we got just a word for you and your listeners. I'm going to give a free promo to a glassware company called BOBO, which I hadn't heard of till recently. They're out of Sweden. They sent us a sample box of a lot of glassware. Beautiful, beautiful glassware we got today.
Bobo. Okay. I'll put that.
Yeah.
I'll put their website in the podcast links too, so people can find them if you'd like to look. Check out Bobo. Uh, I had an idea when you were talking about the best restaurants and all the bars that you know and that you have seen come and go or have seen stand the test of time. You're probably like me, I'd imagine, where when people come into Miami, because I'm going to do this to you one day, they come to
Okay.
Miami, they're like, "Hey, Guy, where do I go? What's the hottest thing? What do I have to check out?" Do they do that? Your friends do that to you? Your
All the
family and all
time.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is it's a beautiful compliment. I think I get it for LA and I get it for Santa Barbara a couple times a week. Um, and I never get tired of recommending great restaurants. But what I thought what would be such a cool business you ever want to add to your business, I'm just going to throw an idea out there for you. I talked to John Keats that owns the Cavern Club, the famous Cavern Club music venue in London where the Beatles played and
Hmm.
Eric Clapton and Rolling Stones and all these great people. And then they give out when people come to town, they want to see obviously the Cavern Club, but they have tour buses that take people to these different hot spots around town. And I that would be I could there are probably companies that do that for bars specifically, aren't there in Miami? Or would I or would
Almost like
you
a
offer that?
concierge, almost like a
Yeah, like
concierge service kind of
for
thing.
really great bars though, like you know.
I
I think that'd be a huge
I would do
I'd
it.
sign up.
I got actually hired by Simrise, which is like a global flavorings company, and they had been a sponsor of Starchefs, and so I had
Mhm.
been connected with them, and they reached out for me to put together a little bar tour of Miami for like what just flavors and representations of like the best kind of bars in Miami, and I got to take them on that trip, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a really good time. So every once in a while I get private hired to do it, but yeah, maybe we should put together a service for it.
Yeah, I think you'd be the guy everybody would hire. I'd hire you for sure.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna look you up when I come out. I haven't been out there for a while, but I love Miami. So
it's fun.
what's the trends these days where and is it affecting business at all, or do you see it affecting your staffing where bartenders aren't drinking like they used to, which I love. I'm all for that because it's sad to see, all the problems that can happen at late night after a bar and during a bar. I don't think ever any staff should drink during a shift, but some bars do, and some that's part of their appeal. Bartenders drinking with the guests. To me, that never in my bars, but I know that there is that slowly uh, Gen Xers are drinking 20% less than the previous generation, and even more so now with the new generation. Do you see that trend in the bartenders not drinking as much? And does it affect at all how they construct cocktails and their experience as a bartender? Where do you land on that? Are you for it, or do you approve of it, or
Well,
what do
I
you think? What are you seeing?
I definitely think if you, when I get asked about drinking trends general right now, like the no ABV is a real trend. I've been asked so many times, different publications or different years about like what's the cocktail trends, and a lot of bartenders will say low ABV or X,
Or
Y,
no
or Z or
low?
whatever. Yeah, no low. But truly, really and truly, right now, it's not it's a real trend. People are drinking less. And I know for just about every one of our clients we've had in the last 2 to 3 years, they've specifically asked for no ABV cocktails. And that's something specific. It's something that feels like reasonable to be drinking as an adult when you just don't want to be drinking alcohol. Or, again, I think for many years, people were looking for the answer if you were, not drinking, period. But now a lot of people make it a point to say, I'm not really drinking tonight. Here I'm wearing my little
Mm-hmm.
Whoop strap. It's checking my vitals and it shows me if I have 3 or 4 drinks, my sleep plummets, 60% of the
Yeah,
quality
mental
goes
health
down.
and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so more and more people are just so much more aware of what consuming alcohol on a day-to-day or on a regular basis can be. And so anyway, that it's a real trend. And I think it's a good one. It's been a positive one in my life. I've more comfortable, I have a good friend who is a bar owner, and I saw him actually at Sonny's, the place I was talking about before, on Saturday night, and he was having a bitters and soda. He practically doesn't drink anymore. And it was not because he had an alcohol problem per se, but just, wants to be sharp the next day. He's got two young kids, etc. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that true no ABV cocktails or true offerings that are non-alcoholic outside of the like juice and club soda or something are really becoming a thing. What it means for the long-term health of the business, I'm not sure. I know we recently had a client at Joe's Stone Crab in Miami Beach, which is as old school as it gets. It's pretty much they do half their
Mhm.
business in vodka martinis. They wanted to do non-alcoholic cocktails, and I was shocked from day one to see how many non-alcoholic cocktails were going across the bar, like in high demand, from the day we launched them. So it's a cool thing that more and more people are into. And for a lot of bars, again, still, if you make a proper cocktail that happens to have no alcohol in it, you can still have a decently high price tag to it because it feels like something of value and some thought went into it and some quality went into it.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree, and I like. I mean, there you can do so much with a mocktail or whatever you want to call it. I know that's probably 10 years old, but with a non-alcoholic cocktail, you can do a lot with those and really create some fresh, interesting drinks for your guests. Okay, so we are running out of time. Unfortunately, I could talk to you all day, Guy. Let's real quick before the break, if you could just kind of rapid fire answer these for me. Um, dining at the bar to me is my favorite place to go. Just go by yourself, sit down at the bar, and connect with that bartender. I think that dining experience is so special. My favorite way to dine. Um, could you give us some tips on how to be the perfect bar patron or the bar guest, the single bar guest, bar etiquette? Uh, what should I ask my bartender? Is there a dance here that you
Yeah,
kind of a
I've
list of what as a bartender you're like, I'm so sick of this happening, but I wish they did this.
I think so. Here's like a couple quick rapid fire tips to be a good dining bar patron. We'll just make it very specific. We'll niche down to dining bar patron. So being aware of traffic patterns at the bar. I think I'm with you. I almost like my wife and I go on dates and eat at the bar almost
Mhm.
exclusively. Um, but just
Traffic patterns.
be aware, or guests, if guests are trying to come behind you, or if there's a way that, don't, when you see a busy bar and there's three seats,
Don't sit
or
at the
four
service
seats,
bar.
yeah, don't sit at the service bar and don't leave one between you. So there's maybe room for another couple. Just
Yeah,
be a little
good tip.
thoughtful of those things when you're going to be a guest. Second, never reach into the garnish caddy. Those are not yours. Those are being
They're
handled
not
by
snacks.
professionals. Yeah, they're not snacks. And then
Oh, man.
finally, just kind of be aware of, because I love to make conversation with bartenders. I'm not this long-winded when I'm talking to a bartender, but just be aware of cues that they might need to do things. The bartender is not yours to hog the entire time while you're talking about the, great thing you did this weekend. Let them get back to what they're doing if you can tell they need to jump to it.
Good, all good tips. And if you could go in at the times when they're slow, if you really want to talk to that bartender and learn something. What do you ask a bartender if you don't know what you like to drink? Is
If I don't
like
know
if
what I want to
or
drink,
like
and yes, well, no, and if one did not know what they would like to drink, I would just ask the bartender what they like to drink. And
mhm.
I think when you ask them that way, you get honest responses, and you can either choose to go on that journey with them or not. And same when we train people, it's like, what take a cue and say, oh, on my anniversary, I had this with so and so. I thought it was great. We had the best time drinking this. Or, when I get out of work, I like 100 proof shot of rye whiskey, gets me right there really quick. Again, you can say, I'm not really looking for that experience, or you can go down that road and you usually end up becoming, pretty friendly with that person.
All right, good tips. What's the best tip, by the way, you've ever received at the bar?
Money wise or life
Yeah,
advice wise?
yeah, either. Yeah,
Eh,
either one's.
I definitely have gotten a couple $100 tips before, and they were very well received.
Yeah, that's
And
always
then
nice.
life wise, I don't remember, probably like keep up the good work. I don't remember.
Well, with a resume like yours, I believe that that was one of your tips. Gui Jaroschy is my special guest. Unfiltered Hospitality is his business. Better bar experiences start there or here, and go to Unfiltered Hospo on all socials and follow them like I did today. And you can find Gui Jaroschy at on LinkedIn. I'm going to spell his last name. I'll spell everything. Gui, Gui, last name Jaroschy, Jaroschy. You can find him on LinkedIn there and on unfilteredhospo.com, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Unfiltered Hospo. And we are going to be right back for our final segment. We're going to talk fall menus, cocktail menus, some suggestions, what's hot. And before we leave, though, I promised you, I asked you a question. I didn't know the answer to it. I was hoping you did. And that was bad of me to do that. The term 86, we talked about what the term 86, I get this question so much from customers and employees. So a couple things. During Prohibition, police would tell patrons to 86 or leave the speakeasy at 86 Bedford Street in Greenwich Village. This is at Chumley's Bar. So that was one that it refers to. And whiskey, before the 1980s, whiskey was sold in 86 or 100 proof. So if a bartender noticed a patron had consumed too much 100 proof whiskey, they would switch them to the 86 proof. It's 86ing the patron. So there's more, but those are the two big ones that the term 86 is now used in many of the hospitality industry to mean refuse service or get rid of or 80 or nick something, 86 something. It can also refer to a person who is not welcome on the premises. And here's a guy that is welcome anywhere. Gui Jaroschy, he's my special guest. We're going to be right back. Unfiltered Hospitality.